Hello guys, welcome back to the E-Man channel. Here's Johannes from E-ManGames, and today I want to show you my Burning Abyss list. Played obviously Turgite and 3 Rhinos. Down for the BA lineup, 2 Skarm, pretty standard, even though I'm not playing Hydrolander, but I'll come to that later. 2 Farfa, Graf, Seer, Libic, Drakek. Drakek is perhaps the most interesting thing about my BA lineup. I just felt like it was really mandatory to get access to Seer as early as possible, and Drakek is just another card that can give you Seer in combination with either Sekka's Light, Gallus, or any of your dangers. And on top of that, it can chain block, and it's also just another name. Which I felt was really helpful to increase the consistency of the deck. 1 Alec, 1 Barbar, and one Calcap and 1 Barbar. Pretty standard. Then triple danger, Tsuchinoko, and triple danger Jackalope, and triple Gallus. As I said already, I did not play Hydrolander, and now I'll come to why. Even though Hydrolander, without a question, is on its own an insanely good card, I just didn't feel like it was really necessary in any of your matchups. It wasn't like an auto-win against any deck. And the most of the time where I found myself losing, or in the losing position, was when I was just not able to play the game. And to counter that, I just increased the consistency, but also the ceiling of the deck a lot by just playing more extenders. Like, these can be openers or extenders. They, at least these 6, can give you access to Sekka's Light, which I found was really key, because Sekka's Light is just a super absurd card, and you just always want to draw it. And these cards just help you by doing it. Like the normal Burning Abyss deck right now, which is playing like hand jobs and kaijus and Hydrolander, they would always just lose against Altergeist, which I found at first with Burning Abyss also really problematic. But with this list, I've played against, or with comparable lists to this. Like, I haven't obviously played the exact same list, but yeah, just lists that are really comparable. I played 7 times against Altergeist, and I won 5 of them and drew twice, but I didn't ever lose. And this just shows how strong this build is, especially when it comes to dealing with back rows and interruptions, which normally is the weakness of this deck. And because you have so many extenders and so much consistency, you can really often just OTK them. I've only played a few locals with it, but every time I went second except against a very huge Thunder Dragon field, I was able to OTK, even against like 3 or 4 back row, with only the main deck. So yeah. Triple Destrudo and Mermare. This got quite standard to play these, but I saw many lists that were only playing 2 Destrudo with a Mermare, which I just feel like is super incorrect, no matter if you're playing Hydrolander or not, but especially without Hydrolander I would 100% play 3, because Destrudo is one of the 2 cards in the entire deck that are good to draw, good to mill, and good to discard. The other one is Fiendish Rhino Warrior. Like any of the other cards, they are either good to draw, or they are good to mill, or they are good to discard, or in the case of like the dangers, they are good to discard and good to draw, but they are not good to mill. And Destrudo is that's why I would definitely play 3 of them. And especially when you're already playing a Garnet for it. I mean, playing this at 2, but still playing this is kind of like playing 2 Brilliant with only 1 Garnet. Especially since Mermare is the worst, and it's just the worst draw in the entire deck. Even though you're playing Sekka's Light, which can sometimes obviously shuffle it back, but when you're already playing this as an engine requirement, I would also just max out on the engine. I'm still playing the 2 Malicious and the Solkias. When I'm going second, I usually side them out, depending on how much I have to side against the certain matchup. But when you're going first, these are just way too good. They help you to combo, they help you to extend your plays, and they're not even as bad draws, and still they are really good moves. Then triple white and 2 of the blue dragon, black dragon, whatever. Most of the list, especially with Hydrolander, are only playing these, which I think is correct when you're not playing when you are playing Hydrolander. But when you're not playing Hydrolander, I definitely play 3 and 2. The reason for that is, on the one hand side, like the chances of having a light in the graveyard is higher when you're playing more lights, obviously. But also then you're able to like summon this, search this, special this, and search this, which you cannot do if you're only playing one of this. But on the next turn you can still just summon this and search this. Like, the amount of plus you make just of these is so crazy that I really couldn't cut them. They are one of the main reasons I think playing without Hydrolander is better right now. Because as I said already, like Hydrolander isn't necessary against anything. You can also just push without him. And Hydrolander is just a potential death draw. And these are just so good draws. And like you have to adapt your entire deck build, and especially the side deck, to Hydrolander, where it's really like these are just the cards you want to draw. Also this, this, and even though you can obviously make Hydrolander consistent, the destruction effect of Hydrolander consistent, then you're just giving up so much consistency of the entire deck that I just don't feel like it's worth it. Yeah, and also you can still just get unlucky with Hydrolander. But yeah. Then the 1 Snow. And the most absurd card, Thecker's Light. Almost every list I saw in the last week were citing these out, which I just feel like is completely incorrect. I'll come to the... I'll let them right here so you can see them, and I'll come back to them when I go through my side deck. I cited triple Gamma Seal, pure mainly. This was what they're mainly for. They're also good against some rogue decks, but most importantly just pure. Then I played triple Pancratops and triple Majesty's Fiend. These are the 6 cards that I cited against Altergeist. Like, the normal deck would probably play triple Reboot and triple Twister against Altergeist, but effectively you would just cite these 6, so triple Reboot and triple Twin Twister against 3 Thecker's Light and 3 more cards. But then you only have 6 draws against Altergeist that are like super strong, whereas now I have 9, because drawing Thecker's Light against Altergeist is also just super broken. Because even though if you don't draw these, like if you just have a handful of extenders, you can still win against Altergeist. And also like Majesty's Fiend and Pancratops are just so strong against Altergeist, and also help outing problematic cards, which Red Reboot and Twin Twister just don't do. Like if your opponent has Border, like you can have Twister and Red Reboot, but you still might be losing because you cannot get over it. Whereas these are just super strong cards, especially Pancratops. Like when they have Border, you just win when you draw this, because most likely he will have 1 or 2 more monsters in his hand besides the Pancratops, and therefore he'll only have 1 or 2 sets most of the times, and this just takes out Border and a set, so it's just super key. And Majesty's Fiend is also just super crazy against Altergeist, because Border cannot push over it and the Wee Witch cannot push over it, so it's really tough for them to deal with it. And you can summon it really easy, and really often you can still just summon something in addition to it, so you can end on like multiple monsters with this, so that you can kill them way faster and way more effectively. Also, this is a light, which is kind of cool because of the black dragon. Now we played against like combo decks and Thunder Dragon, triple Lanthea and triple Ghost Bell. Other lists might play more Kaijus or might play Ashes, but I just don't feel like Ash is really necessary, since like it's a 33% chance that you draw it when you go in second, and even then, really often it will just not stop the combo decks. And the combo decks are also playing stuff like Cold. When you're playing a tournament of like, I don't know, 7 or 8 rounds, you might face 2 combo decks, so 50-50 that you win the dice roll, so you go second once. And then you have a 33% chance to even draw the card, and then he still has the chances of drawing like Cold or Extenders, so it just didn't feel like Ash was really reasonable. And I also didn't feel like playing more Kaijus was reasonable, because Kaijus in my opinion are only really strong against Pure, and when they know that you're playing like 7 Kaijus and they have good, then they will just pop their link with multi-roll, and then you just have that draws in your hand. And if they don't have so good, you don't really need the Kaijus anyway, if you know what I mean. So I felt like playing 3 was a nice compromise. Yeah, so that's why I play these, and Lanthea is just the most effective hand trap against decks like Rongo on its own. The extra deck is pretty boring though. Viazi, Tudante, Beatrice, and Grampus. Grampus is probably the only interesting card in my deck realistically. Against Altergeist, if you summon 2 BAs and you get cherried, you get really in trouble when you're not playing this. This is just the best answer to cherries, and cherries is what makes you lose against Altergeist. You just summon this and death and pass. If they don't have Mother Seek, what you can do is this has 1800, so you can push over any of the Altergeist monsters. So you can, if your hand is bad, you can still just go like push, then detach a material to pop a spell trap or force out a negation, and then you can still just use this link material to go into like Phoenix or so. And if they have border, this has 2800, you can still just sit on this and wait until you draw out, which you cannot with like Breaksword. Also, this does not lose to Lost Win. Then 1 Linkery Bow, 1 Underclock Taker, the 2 Nightmares and Reproducus, Self-Explanatory, Sorceress Curious, just Bana, this was Unicorn. And then just 1 Broadsword Dragon. You don't really need Brawload Dragon. You just want to kill them, you don't want to like take control of the monsters. I also wanted to show you, or to explain, some of the strategies against certain matchups to you. Most of the times you're just going first and going for interruptions and setting up your TK on the second turn, and when you're going second you just try to kill them. But against like Altergeist, for example, against Altergeist and Pure, as stupid as this might sound at first, but you don't scoop. Like, if you're just sitting there and summoning a bunch of monsters in defense, they really often just will take quite a while to kill you. Like, when you're in a losing position against Altergeist, this really often comes up. After 1 or 2 turns, you know that you cannot realistically win this game. Then you can just chill, summon a bunch of monsters, just defend a bit, and get like 20 minutes with this. Then you're really favored in game 3, because it will probably start close before time. By the way, I'm not talking about that you should like slow play or do anything illegally. You just really don't scoop. Like, no one can like force you to scoop, but you should obviously still play the reasonable pace, and don't slow play or any bullshit like that. Feel free to subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, whatever, and shout outs to MetaMaths, shout outs to Monster Protectors. Bye.